Hello and welcome to today's live stream with me, John, and that is FPL Heisenberg, aka Wes. Wes, your OR is more than twice as good as mine now.
Well, still a long way to go. I know you've been having a few. We're going to get onto your team later, aren't we? But you're in a similar boat to a lot of people, with the likes of Stones getting a red card, Rafinha being injured. You've even got goalkeeper issues as well. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of
Imploding.
people. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people in a similar situation. I feel quite lucky actually. I've got the sort of Jota injury rumours. Everyone's got sort of Kane and Son. No one's going to have a strong bench this week, have they? So this is the week where you actually need your 11 to come through for you.
Well, that's the thing. I'd kind of planned where I would have Kane, Son, and Stones on the bench.
Yeah.
And now I've got a Rafinha issue. I've got a Pope issue. Not that he would have probably been playing anyway. Ideally, he would have, but I want him out. I just have had other fires to fight, but this week could be the week. And Nat
Yeah.
Phillips is kind of giving me issues. But
Yeah.
big shout out to Sanjay Patel, who gave us a like before we even started. And that segues beautifully into, if you're here at the start of the video, so I don't have to nag you all the whole way through, do us a big favour. Like the video, subscribe to the Fantasy Football Hub channel for more content like this, and even better content if I'm honest. And yeah, Wes, what else? They can find us on socials. Our handles are below us,
Yeah.
and we're going to talk about all things FPL that are on people's minds before this deadline.
Yeah.
The first thing, look, we just go straight into it. There's no point in beating around the bush.
Yeah,
In the
let's get straight
title,
into it. Just yeah, like I say in the title, but just before we get into it, let us know if normally we do sort of a Thursday night one, but this time with our own lives, we couldn't really make that work. And also, there was a Leicester game on, and we want to try and mix up and do one closer to the deadline. So maybe this will help more or less. Let us know which you prefer if you watched our previous ones as well.
do you like it? Yeah, the deadline or like the Thursday night? We kind of skipped last night, I think, because the Leicester game was on. We thought it was too busy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
you kind of want to be able to digest that before you start talking about it. But
yeah,
good suggestion. But no, says he's like now, good man. Right, Wes. In the title, we say Harry Kane to keep or to sell.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull something up here on the screen. It was a question we got. Now we'll go to Rich FPL, who's in the crowd's question afterwards. But FPL says time to bin Kane ? Frees up funds to get in Trent for Nat. So yeah, everyone's thinking about binning Kane. Obviously, he has a flag on him, and Gameweek 33 he blanks, but he's in incredible
Yeah.
form. So, what are your initial thoughts on it?
My initial thoughts is to hold Kane. I've seen some. I'm not sure how confirmed these reports are, but he's back training on the grass. He's got a chance for the cup game this week. So therefore, my thinking is, if he's got a chance for this cup game, that gives him, even if he just misses out on that, he should, in theory, be back for the next Premier League game in Game Week 34. And if Spurs had dodgy fixtures, I'd say maybe it's time to free up those funds. But he has, is it Leeds and Sheffield United after that? I'm pretty sure that's right. So he's got two, I think it's Sheffield United first at home, and then it's Leeds
Yeah.
away. So really nice fixtures for Kane. He's obviously in unbelievable form. Against Everton, 2 chances, 2 goals, just unreal stuff. So no, it is always team dependent, and this FPL, his question makes sense because he wants to free up funds to get Trent in, and I can't really argue that. Trent is really the one player that is missing, that I regret not squeezing into my team. So it definitely makes sense, and with the likes of it depends how much money do you need to free up Trent. You might need a couple of mil if you're going up from the likes of a Lewis Dunk. You're going to need 2.5 mil. So sort of Kane to Vardy doesn't quite work, and there's not that many other good strikers. But yeah, say if you can do Kane to Vardy, and that gives you enough money to get rid of, say, a Diaz to a Trent or something like that, then it could make sense, especially as Vardy's got potentially double coming up. Vardy's got good form. Vardy's got good fixtures. So yeah, I guess I've kind of sat on the fence there, but I think it's right what I've said.
I don't think it's time to bin Kane. I think it's time to bin Kane if you didn't plan for 33 and you're fucked. Even then, it mightn't be time to bin Kane.
Yeah.
I just think like the whole play here was that Kane had some great fixtures on the double. I mean, now obviously there's people who maybe weren't looking as far ahead, but if you follow FPL content, I'd say every podcast and stream over the past 6 weeks has been talking about 32 double, 33 blank, good fixtures again. So for me, I think selling Kane would be craziness unless something comes out about his injury that we think he'll be out for 2-3 weeks or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think if we could be confident in Kane's fitness, you'd be mad to get rid of him.
Yeah.
I do think that. Now, in terms of Trent's amazing. Like, I have the jersey over my shoulder because he was my favourite player on fantasy games and betting sort of alternative gambling games over the past couple of years. And not even a Liverpool supporter, but he's just so good. And it's brilliant to see him back on form. Obviously, he got sort of snubbed with England a bit, and he's trying to play his way into the Euro squad, starting right back. I mean, it's so competitive there for England, isn't it? But
it is, yeah.
He's doing an amazing job. I didn't think after the first sort of big score he obviously had the 9 and then he had the 12. I was kind of thinking, like, he's been so in and out all season. Liverpool aren't playing well. But I kind of went against my own judgment and kind of bowed down and was a bit of a sheep and just got him in because everyone else did. And there he is, popping up with 8 points again. Like, that's what? 23 plus 40 points over 4 games. Like,
I think he's got. I think is it 3 out of the last 4 games he's got max bonus. So if he gets he's got a clean sheet, max bonus, just 1 assist, max bonus. So he's doing really well.
4 games in the bounce, he's got 3 points bonus.
Yeah, I think is there not a 1 blank? Oh, maybe I was wrong. I thought he had a blank in there as well.
Check it out. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. I'm seeing 3-3-3-3.
Either way, yeah. So it's like you said, it's amazing, isn't it? So he's a bonus magnet, which is really good. And it's sometimes overlooked. If you think of someone like, I'm not comparing Salah to Trent because obviously they're different positions, but someone like Salah, if he gets that 1 return, that 1 goal, he very rarely gets the bonus to go along with it. It can make a big difference. Whereas, players like Trent, 1 return, they're getting that bonus. So, yes, sorry, just got distracted by the comments. Someone's popped up here and saying a subliminal message to like the video, and he spelt it like that. That's good. I like that. But sorry, back to Trent. Really good for bonus. Very good option. I really wish I could squeeze him in. All my defenders are sort of 5 mil or below. I've got no money in the bank, and I haven't managed to squeeze him in at the minute. But I would like to. Oh yeah, so I really, really don't like not having Trent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's tough at the minute. Wes, I'm going to throw a left field question at you here, then maybe we'll get the riches and move on. But Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes is the question. Like, he was the man all season. On to break points records, he was the man. And I have been as pro Bruno as anyone else. Like, I love him. But, like, fixtures coming up, Leeds. And I've heard Leeds have conceded the least amount of goals in the league at home this season. Maybe that's wrong, and it sounds crazy. But I seen someone write it. It might have been a bloody April Fool's or some joke, but I definitely read a half reputable account post that on Twitter. Yeah,
no, it's possibly true. They have got again, it's sort of a perception that Leeds concede a lot of goals, but they have actually got a decent amount of clean sheets. I think Meslier is up there as one of the top keepers, so it wouldn't surprise me actually.
But they've got Leeds away, which means Leeds are at home where they're defending well. Liverpool, Villa, Leicester, and then you've got Fulham and Wolves, which are decent games, but. Do you know, Bruno has blanked in, he's got 1 assist in his last 4, 1 goal and 1 assist in his last 7. It's like, for that price, I'm half tempted to. Now, again, we'll get onto my team in a bit, and I think I have other places the money needs to go, but it's hard over the next week or two to not think about going to Salah with him for me. But then again.
Yeah. And also, I was just going to say, with Bruno, and just back to Trent quickly, just on some stats that I've seen as well. Trent compared to Trent game weeks 1 to 25 compared to say game weeks 26 to 32. So the more recent form of Trent, not only the eye test clearly shows us how much better he's playing, and the stats back that up in terms of chance creation, shots, and all that stuff. So that's, if you're looking at Trent, just know that he is actually performing in the sort of stats and the eye test. Back to your question about Bruno, obviously it depends for everyone's team, but to speak more generally, assuming a lot of people have Salah, a good alternative for Bruno would be Greenwood, because you'd save, I can't figure out the maths off the top of my head, but I think maybe 4 million-ish, depending on obviously how much you can sell Bruno for. But you're going to save a big chunk of money, which might free up those funds for Trent. And you're getting an asset who has scored an FPL return every 40 minutes. Is a stat that I saw over his last sort of 3 or 4 games, I think it was. He's scored really well. He's got a goal and assist off the bench in 1 game. He got 2 goals last week, I think it was. So yeah, Greenwood's performing really well. Saves you that money. The Man United, I think they're going to have a double in week 35, aren't they? And then potential blank in 36. We'll flash that up for the viewers as well soon. Sorry, at some point, John, the Ben Crellin tweet. But
Yeah.
yeah, Greenwood's an option I like. He's playing really well. He's on a real streaky goal scoring streak. If that continues, then you're getting a sort of Man United asset. Man United score a lot of goals, but you're getting a Man United asset for like 4 million ish cheaper.
Yeah, no, I like that. And it's funny, it's hard for me to even think about doing that because, as I say, people are going to see the state of my team very shortly. But if I was in a position, like I think we have a question later about burning a transfer. I don't think Bruno to Greenwood's that bad a shout, and I haven't seen it too much. Like Greenwood's in amazing form. I think he's wrongly classed as a midfielder. And well, actually, I suppose whenever you think about it, he's probably rightly classed whenever Salah's a midfielder and these wing players are midfielders. I kind of get it, but at the same time, he's had amazing stats over the last few games. We'll quickly do Rich's question and we'll go over those fixtures you've been talking about with Ben Crellin. So, Rich, who's in the crowd. Rich, hello. At 323k with 6 weeks to go, what would you do? Now, there's a lot in that question. It depends on his team, depends on a lot. But, 6 weeks to go, we're getting to crunch time in terms of differentials, in terms of what do you do? Does he go balls to the wall to try and climb those ranks, or does he try and settle for a 250, top 250, top 200, top 100k rank?
Yeah.
What do you do?
So I think I've got a good answer for this one in terms of you play it well, you play it sensibly, but you make calculated gambles. So say on a transfer, you may be 50-50 between player A and player B. I don't normally look at ownership, but at this stage, say if your player A was, say, Bruno and your player B was a Greenwood, go for player B because, they've both got pros and cons, but player B in this scenario is a lot more of a differential, a lot low, obviously a lot less owners, and a chance of, obviously, if then Greenwood does outscore Bruno, a big if, obviously, you're taking a gamble, of course. And just so you know, that is purely for an example's sake. But yeah, you don't start making stupid decisions and going for ridiculous differentials, but you go for the ones that do have a chance of doing well. And likewise with captaincy, you don't start captaining Lewis Dunk away to Man United or something stupid. You go for those players say this week, sort of Salah versus Iheanacho. Maybe the majority will go Salah, but maybe Iheanacho maybe that's sort of a 50-50 call because, you can make a strong argument for Iheanacho. And this is the stage of the season where you can take those gambles, but they're not stupid punts, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's all about, you see people making these decisions to be differential for differential's sake and captaining John Stones or captaining some crazy fucking choice. Pick the riskier option, but don't be an idiot either. At the end of the day, you want to pick the players who are going to score the most points, and it's all about playing the odds and playing the game. But yeah, look, we'll move on from that. I'm going to whip up the Ben Crellin table. He tweeted saying he thinks this is what the schedule is likely to look like. He thinks that's what the schedule is likely to look like. That's a lot of L's. Ben Crellin on Twitter, you should check him out. Might be small enough on your screen, so if it is, go over and find it. But basically, he's projecting, by the looks of this, game week 35 could be a bit of a double. Saying it's a likely double game week for teams like Villa, Palace, Everton, Southampton, Arsenal, Chelsea, Leicester and United. Yeah. So, yeah, there's some strong... Do you know what? Whenever I look at that, I mean, Bruno might be a decent captaincy shout that week, or Greenwood, depending if he keeps up the form. It's obviously a couple of weeks away, but the captaincy that week will be fun.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting that if it's a difficult one to play, so assuming, like me and you, John, we don't have our wild card or free hit left. If you do, then you're in a stronger position to navigate these. But with a lot of people who've burned those already, you're going to have to be careful. So say if you look at those top 8 teams, the bottom 4 of those, the sort of Arsenal, Chelsea, Leicester, Man United, who also have a double, they're obviously the better teams there, especially Chelsea, Leicester and Man United. But if they double, they're likely to blank the next week. So you don't really want to be going, triple United, triple Leicester, triple Chelsea, if you don't have a free hit or anything, because you'll have a really good game at 35, no doubt, or most probably. But then in week 36, you're going to be in a world of pain when you have literally no players. So I think a good balance there is Aston Villa have obviously West Brom this week, so you could look at bringing in someone like Watkins, who, although has been kind of unpopular recently, he got a goal against Liverpool, an assist against Man City, and now he has West Brom, Everton, a double, and most importantly, he doesn't blank in 36. Crystal Palace are pretty terrible, probably avoid everyone from them, and kind of on the beach because they haven't got anything to play for. Everton, you could look at the likes of Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin, whoever's on form at the time, and Southampton, maybe Danny Ings if he's back to some sort of reliable fitness. So there's some players who, and again, they kind of help the people who are looking to climb the ranks in the fact that they're kind of differentials, but you're getting a double game week player and you're getting a player, and they all bounce back in with fairly reasonable fixtures as well. If you look at that, I don't know, like you said, it might be too small on the screen, so I'll read it out. But Villa bounced back in week 36 with Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace obviously bounced back in with Villa, therefore. Everton bounced back in with Sheffield United at home, and Southampton bounced back in with Fulham at home. So they are fairly good assets to own, although they're kind of off our radar, aren't they? Like Southampton, to me, like without actually looking at this graphic, I'd have just said no to Southampton, and obviously not this week. They blank, of course. But yeah, one eye I'd say on Southampton, Everton, Crystal Palace, Villa assets in case anyone stands out for those double game week and beyond.
Yeah, it's weird because I'm looking at this and I'm kind of like, oh no, I have very few of those players. I have a couple of Leicester, I have Bruno, no Chelsea, no Arsenal, no Southampton, no Everton, no Palace. I've got Martinez, I think. Might be wrong, might be forgetting someone, but like the ones that I do have are all the ones that are likely to blank in game week 36. So it's kind of like, oh god, I need to start planning again.
Yeah,
this has been a mad season for it, hasn't it? Like
I know it's tough. I've never known a season where we get 2 wildcards and a free hit, and it's just never known a season like it with all these blanks and doubles. And now, like me and you and most people are going into this sort of stretch of the season absolutely chipless, and therefore, if you're not careful, game week 36 could really sting. So I don't know how hard I'll hit those doubles. For if you look at Spurs, for example, I'm likely to keep Son and Kane for game week 35, even though they don't double because they've got Leeds and they've got Sheffield United in the meantime, and then they bounce back in with the likes of Wolves and Villa. So maybe in the double game week I won't score as well as some. I'll probably get a red arrow in the double game week, but I'll hopefully make that up in blank 36 maybe.
Well, look, I suppose it's just something that people need to be bearing in mind with their transfers, and it's something that might affect my transfers this week and next week. Well, that would definitely affect my transfers, just in terms of who to go for. I would have been thinking maybe of certain players from other teams that are lower there down that kind of chart who don't have the double. But that said, there will be, like whenever you've got like Arsenal, Chelsea, Leicester, and United who are likely to have a double and a blank, what's not to say that Liverpool, Southampton, West Brom over 35 and 36 isn't actually better. Do you know?
Exactly, yeah.
So like target those teams that actually are playing well, have 2 nice fixtures in 35 and 36. If you're averaging it out over the 2 weeks, great. So there's no point in panicking to try and optimise for this double game week and then panic in 36 and then the end of your season you're all over the place taking -8s.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's kind of like scary actually looking at that chart, and it's like, oh right, okay, that's 38. Fucking hell, with 6 weeks left.
I know, yeah. Only 6 weeks left, which is why at the top of the show I kind of said, or 5 minutes ago, whenever it was, in terms of maybe this is the time if you are chasing. Not for me, like our ranks are decent enough, John, that we're near the top of our mini league, so we probably don't need to do this. But if you're outside the top 100k and you've got ambitions to be inside, say, the top 50k, then those calculated gambles, now is the time to actually start doing that. But like I do want to reiterate, don't make stupid decisions. Just make that. There's normally 2 good players for captaincy, for example, player A or player B. Maybe your head says player E, but just take that gamble on player B because that's still a good show.
Your internet went to be funny there, but you're back. I'm going to take away Ben Krellin's lovely schedule. I'm going to throw up another question we got from FPL Matt. What are your views on burning a free transfer? I have 2, but unless Jota is injured, I don't see any moves I want to make this week, but reluctant to waste a transfer. Is doing nothing sometimes the best policy?
Sometimes, but very rarely for me. I don't like burning transfers, and usually there is a move you can make. And this Jota news, keep an eye on. I think Klopp's got a press conference at 1:30 p.m. today. Obviously, so that we should know that soon. So there's normally something you can do, freeing up some funds for a future transfer. So I really don't like wasting a transfer if possible. There should be something you can do to improve your team. It's not a policy that I like to do. However, if your team is absolutely perfect and Jota's now fit or whatever, then don't weaken your team by making a transfer. But I'd say try and spot an area where you can strengthen your squad.
I'm kind of like, I hate doing it. I feel like there's always somewhere that you can strengthen. There's always somewhere. You might love your team, and maybe I'm wrong, and like, look, if that's the team you want to go with, and you're hell bent on that, like, burn the transfer. I don't feel you need to use it for the sake of using it, but just look, like, is there a keeper you can downgrade that you don't need, that you can get an extra point 1.2 in the bank? Do you know? Is there a
Yeah.
Do you know? Is there your enablers? Can they be moved around just to have an extra 0.2 in the bank?
Yeah.
You know, is there something you can do? And if not, so be it. Even, you know, if maybe try and you could pivot one of your players to a very similar player just for the crack. Do you know? I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, Jesus Christ, burning transfers is horrible. But I mean, again, there are times when it's pertinent.
I think you was right, bang on in what you said about the fact of, maybe you've got something like Mendy and Forster in goal, or I forget that example, but maybe you've got Forster as your sub keeper who you're never really going to use, and he's a rotation risk anyway. Why not go Forster to a 3.8 keeper or 3.9 keeper, whatever is available? And like you said, John, you're saving that 0.1, 0.2, which is going to come in handy for those future transfers, for those double game weeks. And also, to Matt, he should look at obviously a couple of minutes ago on this stream where we said about, the fixture schedule and trying to find, looking at your team and thinking, actually, have I got, players with a double game week and then who don't blank? Is there a good option from blah 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 that I could bring in? So I'm 90% confident there'll be something he can do and something he should do.
Well, that's that question, Wes. Let me see if we have any other little graphics. We've got your team from this week. This is how you scored. Now, I don't have the total at the top. You probably know the total. It's like 76 or something, was it?
Almost. It was 78 minus 4, so it was a 74 net score.
The triple captain Kane, you were very excited after the first game.
Yeah, I know. I was loving that, and the fact that the 2 goals went in. I'm thinking, and he didn't even get the max bonus either. Normally, when a striker gets a brace, he gets all 3 bonus, but Sigurdsson nabbed that. So yeah, I was. It was double. It was. You can't moan too much because 12 points for the triple captain, where I think you got 8 for your De Bruyne, John. I think a lot of people went De Bruyne that week. There was also, I think, Kane in another double game week where he only got 8. I think he scored against someone, then he blanked against Fulham. So that Everton game, he didn't have like 4 or 5 really good chances. He did really only have those 2 chances. So it was kind of fortunate to get those 2 goals, if you know what I mean. So on the balance of play, 12 points. If he'd have scored a single goal in both games with no bonus, I probably wouldn't have moaned. So yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? Being greedy, you want him to play that second game, but 12 points for a triple captain compared to the triple captains this season, it's been a success. So
pre game week, you'd take that every day.
Yeah, I think
after the first game, you're gutted.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. That's human nature.
Yeah,
but you'd Kane, Iheanacho, Jay Ling's coming in again. He's incredible. Son, thankfully getting that goal. He had 1 disallowed as well. The Liverpool lads letting us all down, bar Trent, who you don't have. And,
I know, yeah.
Bruno again blanking. Rudiger there, and Mendy with a 0.
Yeah, Mendy. So that's a good talking point actually, just to quickly touch upon. So Mendy, Leno, and Forster all got rotated this week for different reasons. So those 3 keepers, it's good if you've got 2 of those 3 keepers. You might be thinking, do I need to make a goalkeeper transfer? I'd say look out for news, look out for quotes from managers. If Tuchel says that Mendy's back in, which I think he's likely to, then obviously you're fine. Forster might come back in, and Leno again might come back in. None of them are injured or suspended. They all just got the backup keeper just got a game for whatever the reason was. So yeah, I wouldn't unnecessarily waste a transfer there. I won't be doing so because obviously, luckily, I've got Martinez who has got West Brom next game, so my keeper's slightly sorted. But yeah, it was very frustrating with Mendy because that should have been a clean sheet for him. I think Kepa got like 9 points, whereas Martinez for me, obviously that graphic doesn't show it, but Martinez subs in for me for 1 point, which is obviously disappointing. But yeah, on the whole, I got a minor green arrow. I think I started at around 15k, and now I'm just inside the top 13k. So yeah, a minor green arrow, but green arrow, so I can't moan.
I'm just looking on the comments there. It's great seeing some conversation going between people. I'm seeing Madeline, Aunt Day, John Chappell, Sanjay's here, Matt Henley, Vignesh, Paul Jones, RP, FS, R93, and Vicky's, and there's probably more above that, and I probably missed someone. But it's great seeing them all hashing it out in the comments, getting their teams together, and
love it.
Yeah, thanks very much for the engagement. So yeah, I mean, your team, you have to be happy. You're up again. Do you know, it wasn't so long ago basically our ranks were reversed. So I've kind of regressed, and you're progressing every single week, even by small little green arrows, but they all add up for that top 10k finish.
Yeah.
And I'll pop over and show you my team this week and how I kind of came. So if I go here and I go here, Wes, you'll have a bit of a delay, but at Martinez in goal, I took a -4, and I'm at that stage where I've took -4 2 weeks on the bounce for the first time this season, and it's looking like I might have to do it again. I do not like it one bit, but geez, I'm in meltdown.
Yeah.
Stones with the red. I'm happy. I got a minor red arrow down like from 25k to 26k, but Stones, Dallas, Martinez leveling out as a 0. Trent, thankful I got him in. Jota and Fernandez doing nothing. Son got a goal and 12 points overall, brilliant. Kane, captain, happy enough, but still you're probably losing ground there in the triple captainers. Ian Acho and Vardy saved me a bit last night. I was down at about 32, 33k.
Yeah, that's nice, especially when Vardy had a chance to go for goal, but he actually squared it to Ian Acho, so obviously they both got points for that.
Yeah.
That was good for you.
Yeah, it was. But like, if you look at my team, Stones there missing out, Kane flagged, Phillips flagged, Rafinha out, Pope out, and the Pope's one of those that we got in. I got in for the bench boost, and I haven't been able to shift him since because I've had bigger problems.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sitting on overall rank of 26k ish, and yeah, it's going to be a squeaky finish to the end of the season. It really is.
So I guess for you, John, it's worth waiting for Phillips. I think, like I said, Klopp's press conference is actually after this stream, but you've got, if Phillips is fit, that'll be good for you. Then you can bench Stones, Kane, and Son. Play Loughton. I'm not sure who Loughton's got, and Pope obviously play Loughton, and then maybe transfer Rafinha to a Greenwood if you've got any money in the bank.
You see, Stones is out for 3 fixtures total, right? So this one, and then he misses 2. I'd be tempted to get rid of Stones and Rafinha for whoever, but then maybe that's stupid because Stones is actually... It doesn't... What am I trying to say? Stones would have been out this week anyway, so is that stupid? Does that make sense?
No, but like you said, so there's only 6 game weeks left this season, and John Stones is guaranteed to miss 50% of them.
When you put it like that, bye-bye.
He's missing the next 3, and also your team is in... If this wasn't a blank game week, so say if Kane and Son were obviously playing, etc., then you could obviously, with your strong squad, you could carry him on your bench. But with the Rafinha issue, with Kane and Son blanking, with Phillips' issue there, it makes sense actually to bite the bullet and do it now. And with Rafinha definitely missing this game at least, so yeah, if you could, for you, it does definitely make sense to go Rafinha to Greenwood or Maddison potentially. But yeah, Rafinha to Greenwood and Stones if you need the money. To a cheap defender, someone like Rob Holding maybe. Who else is cheap? One of the Brighton defenders is quite cheap as well.
A player that I want to talk about very quickly. Let me just try and tinker around here and see how this works on the screen. But while we're talking, everyone's talking about Castagna at Leicester. I've seen him everywhere. What are your thoughts?
Very good option because, and especially last night, he was playing... I believe he's playing wing back in a back 5. Someone can confirm that in the comments, but I'm pretty sure he was. And then he moved to centre back when Fofana went off. I want to talk about that in a minute as well, actually. But Castagna was a very good option. He got an assist for Jamie Vardy, and it was in open play. I don't know if you saw the goal, John, but it was basically like those two were the 2 strikers. It was just in normal play, and he was up there and he squared it across for a Vardy simple-ish finish. He also, again, in open play, was just up there and had a shot from like the edge from just inside the area maybe, and it just hit the post. So he could have got a goal, assist and a clean sheet last night, and therefore he'd have obviously had a monster score. He'd have had like a 20 points or something, or maybe not quite as much, but yeah, you know what I mean. He's a really good option. So again, if you can afford it, but it depends on obviously juggling around money in terms of if you did want that Greenwood player. Paul's in the comments saying about Stones only misses 2 league games. He does, but Man City blank this game week is what I meant. So yeah, I might be slightly wrong in the maths, but I think he's going to miss a large proportion of the Premier League games for Man City now. And Pep rotates, so even when he's fitted available, not suspended, who's to say he plays every Premier League game until when he's from game week 35 to 38 or whatever it might be. So yeah, I think it's a no-brainer to remove Stones in your situation, John, with all your other problems as well. And my point on Fofana was that Rogers has come out and said that Fafana's doing really well because of Ramadan. He's not eating or drinking in daylight hours, so he was obviously a little bit tired. So he came off after 65. So it's interesting. Players like Mane and Salah are also fasting, so not eating or drinking, I believe, in the sort of daylight hours. So that could have a bearing on captaincy decision this week. Could we see the likes of Salah get 65 minutes because of Ramadan? I don't know for sure. It's guesswork, but I guess it makes sense if it's it's fairly hot in the UK today, so it might be hot over the weekend and therefore more dehydration, blah blah blah. So in terms of in my head I'm debating between Salah and Iheanacho for my captaincy, it might swing the scales towards Iheanacho. The fact that Iheanacho is maybe likely to get more minutes.
If anyone in the crowd is fasting, let us know in the comments. What exactly does it entail? How much can you eat? Can you drink water through the day? What can't you get away with? And what can you get away with? Be interested?
Yeah, I would as well. From what I know, which again, I'm not the most educated on the subject, but yeah, I don't think it's any eating or drinking from when the sun rises to when the sun sets.
Can you not drink water through the day?
I don't think so. But I don't know if it's different for athletes. I guess every sort of individual can choose how they wish to observe it, but I think that generally speaking, I don't think so. But yeah, be interested to know in the comments.
Yeah, or any other players can't drink, can't eat. Simple as that, says Ozzy. Jeez, yeah. No water all day. If you're like a professional athlete going to train and run around the sun, like that can't be good.
It's crazy, isn't it?
No water, yeah, like that would be rough. That would really affect a player. That has to.
Know. Yeah. So and that's why Fafana and Rogers has come out and said that was the reason he got subbed. Because a centre back doesn't normally come off after 65 minutes, but he did. And anyone who's got the the willpower or the strength of mind or whatever to observe it, fair play to him. I don't think I could do it. So, well done to anyone out there who does it, professional athlete or not.
We've got a great response to the comments. Everyone telling us. Sana says, "Yep, can't eat, drink, or eat anything. Quite easy, to be honest." Do you know we should give it a go, Wes? I've done a bit of intermittent fasting myself, but like it would just take a bit of getting used to, wouldn't it? But yeah, maybe. I suppose the real question then is, we know you can't eat or drink anything now. I would wager a lot of money that will affect performance. Who are the players we know of? Like, who are all the players? Let us know in the comments if there's anyone who we might be missing who's prominent in an FPL, because maybe
it's definitely a factor, isn't it? There's the Salah, Mane and Fafana, the three that spring to mind. There's probably some more, but I'm not sure there's many that would be sort of captaincy options. But yeah, let us know in the comments for sure. That'd be handy.
Well, Wes, what I've done here on the screen while we were chatting is I just went for a 3.9 keeper steer. Is he still the Martinez backup, or is he away or something? Was that someone else? Nyland was I thinking of? Someone earlier in the season, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Nyland when I think Steer maybe is Tom Heaton might be back from injury. But yeah, I think it's obviously you would be clogging up 2 Villa spots if you were to. Yeah. But I don't think with your squad setup you're going to be rushing to get in many 3 players from. I just think they do have that double in week 35 and then a blank in 36. Sorry, I should say they don't blank in 36.
Fire in button. Forget about it. The reason I've done that, Wes, is when I was clicking around, right, I very quickly realised to get to Greenwood from Rafinha, I needed a bit of cash, and if I took out Stones, I only had 3.6 in the bank, so it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know, is a -8 a bit mad? I've been taking hits left, right, and centre.
No, not necessarily. If it's needed, it's needed, isn't it? I guess the other option would be if you didn't want to do the -8 and just wanted to do the -4, you'd have to forego Greenwood and get in a midfielder who was a bit cheaper. I just don't really like many of the options in that price bracket. So if you went, I don't know, if you kept Pope in just on your bench, could you go Stones to a holding character and go Rafinha to a different midfielder? Maybe that's something to play around with.
I'm going to have a play around before the deadline anyway and see what the story is, because the thing is I want to wait in press conferences and stuff as well. But in the comments we got Salamani, Saiss and Fafana are all going to be fasting. Chris Irvine says Shaqiri, or maybe he's just talking about something else. I don't know. Pogba is there mentioned. Salamani, Pogba again, so Pogba's one. Robbie Glynn, I don't know if I think he says Adama being so muscle dense will affect him quite a lot. So maybe Adama. I don't know.
Mm.
Again, none of these are confirmed. I don't know if we know all the religions and beliefs of all the players or not, but it's interesting. It's something that, like, you know, it's just another spanner in the works for this crazy season. Well, every season, but you know. Yeah, so look, Wes, like, basically my team's imploding. You're looking pretty strong. I'm going to whip your team up again. In fact, you know what? No, I'll leave the FPL side up. I'll go and find your team. And you can tell us, this is our little side league. Basically, it looks like I'm going to be painting Wes at the end of the season. That's the forfeit for whoever loses. So at the minute, I'll be painting a portrait of Wes's avatar on Twitter and hanging it in my downstairs bathroom for 30 calendar days. Wes, what are your thoughts this week then? I've got your team on the screen. It's hard to fit it all on, but who's going out and who's coming in?
Yeah, with my team there, it's tough. It's one of those where I might save a transfer or I might do a -4. Because I wouldn't want to do just one transfer. I'd want to get in. The -4 would be to achieve getting Trent in. I've got 0 in the bank. At the minute I'm set up, again this could change. At the minute I'm set up as a 4-4-2 with Kane, Son on the bench. Conts are there as backup in case Jota's out injured. And Conts has got a decent fixture. And I've got Martinez in goal with Mendy on the bench at the minute. Just because I'm kind of covering the Villa and the Chelsea clean sheets with Martinez and Rudiger. So, yeah, it's tough. I don't know what to do. If I did do the -4, it was looking like sort of Son to Greenwood and Luke Shaw up to Trent, because Luke Shaw's my most expensive defender. He's the only way I could get to Trent with those moves. If I did Bruno instead of Son down to Greenwood, I'd have more money and therefore could upgrade any of my defenders, which would be handy because I would like to keep Shaw. But there's so much going on. So normally in these situations where, you know, I can get 11 out this week, assuming even if Jota's out injured, I can get 11 out. If Jota's fit, I've got 1 sub in Consa. And, you know, on paper, they've all got decent fixtures. You know, I've got Watkins, my Villa boys are playing West Brom at home. My Man United boys have got Leeds away. Liverpool boys have got Newcastle home, blah, blah, blah. Dallas is a bit of a dodgy fixture, obviously playing Man United, but he can, you know, pop up with a goal against anyone. Dunk's got Sheffield United, and Iheanacho's playing Crystal Palace, so I think I might hold a transfer and just let go of my desires of bringing in 2 players I really want, Greenwood and Trent, especially Trent. But yeah, I might just have to ride those 2 out and hope for the best, and therefore have 2 free transfers next week, be in a better situation to target that double game week when we actually know they're confirmed, because obviously the graphic earlier, guys, was just a Ben Crelling's best guess. So yeah, I think that's where I'm at, John. I can get 11 out. I can get a sub if Jota's fit. So quite fortunate. Unlike yourself, you've been very unfortunate with the injuries to some of those players. So I might do that. But yeah, I haven't ruled out a -4, which would improve my team with Trent and Greenwood. But it's just so I'm very, very on the fence this week, or indecisive. So yeah, I don't know. And when I feel like that, I normally tend to do nothing, just because I don't want to regret over managing and bringing people in and out. So I think that's how I'll play it. And captaincy, did you say about your captain, John? I don't know who.
No, I was going to get on to captaincy.
Yeah.
Because there was 2 things I wanted to say, Wes, before we do captaincy. First one is Azzy saying in the comments here, fast started today at 4:12 a.m. and ends at 8:18 p.m. They're the daylight hours, I assume. In evening, it doesn't affect performance. It makes them more... if anything, in evening, it doesn't affect performance. It makes them more determined. I saw Amla get a 300 in cricket while fasting. And then he goes on again to say, don't expect players' performance to tail off because of Ramadan. It'll make them more determined. It's the way it goes. It doesn't affect players as much as you think. And he says again now, Ramadan brings a deeper connection with God, and intermittent fasting is on the rise anyway. So Azzy is very bullish. He'll be almost targeting these players. I don't know if I'm sold on it, but just from my own knowledge of any time I don't eat. But look, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it will. John, I'm going to jump in and take over one of your roles right now and ask people to like, because we've got 225 watching right now, which is really good. Really happy with that. But only 33 likes. So
33, Wes? I don't believe it.
John.
I don't believe you. These guys wouldn't do us that bad. Will won't have us back. Will, who runs Fantasy Football Hub, like he basically says to us, guys, if you don't get X amount of likes, yous are dead to me.
We're gonna get sacked.
We're gonna get sacked. Jeez. Yeah, no, but seriously, we're kind of joking, but if you do, the like means everything in terms of this video being found, because you know what it's like. You search FPL, and a bunch of big accounts pop up, and then there's little John and Wes here, trying our best to make good content, and we'll be nowhere to be seen if you don't hit like or tell your friends. So if you have enjoyed this afterwards, social media would be, we plug on social media would be amazing. But Wes, captaincy, it's a big thing everyone talks about every single week. 34 now, boys, says Robbie Glynn. Robbie's the man. Be interested to see how many people listen. RP, do one. Right, captaincy. So I'm going to look at my team. It probably depends on who we bring in, but I have at the minute it said Vardy, captain, Iheanacho, vice. Now, two players in the same fixture is a bit of a dodgy one, but it's just the way it's sat at the minute. It'll probably change the vice in case COVID hits, but Vardy or Iheanacho for me.
It does seem less... well, it is definitely less of a problem in the UK now. It's not to say it can't happen, but yeah, it's definitely safer to do that if you did want to do so. But yeah, you've got Vardy and Iheanacho there. That's a tough call between those two. I've got Salah and Iheanacho as my captain and vice at the minute. Oh, it's tough, isn't it? Because it's just tough. I just feel with Liverpool, with so many of their home games, have really struggled to score. And they've really struggled to look good. I know Salah scored last home game against Villa, was it? But yeah, it kind of goes back to my bonus point thing. He gets one goal and he doesn't get bonus. I feel like Iheanacho will get bonus off a goal. I know he didn't last night, but that was because Vardy got a goal and assist. A defender scored and a clean sheet, and a defender got an assist and a clean sheet. So he was competing with a lot there. So yeah, I actually don't know. I haven't decided my captain yet. I was hoping to decide live on air now, but even in my head now, I'm more confused than ever. So I don't know. Sorry?
Trent is who I've stuck my vice on. I think Trent's a decent shout. If you're ever going to captain a defender at home to Newcastle in the form he's in.
Yeah, and again, good for bonus. So yeah, if I had Trent, he'd be tempting me. So out of all the players, I think the main sort of captaincy options are obviously Bruno and Greenwood. You can't write those off because of that could be a high scoring game and United score a lot of goals, blah, blah, blah. Trent and Salah are good picks, and Vardy/Iheanacho. So yeah, I'd be targeting Leicester United or Liverpool. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. It's not like, obviously last week was a no-brainer, wasn't it? It was Kane, maybe Son, but this week there's definitely a lot more choice and a lot more scope to if you are chasing the mini leagues, go for the slightly less obvious pick, but one that is still a good choice. So someone like you, so John, your Vardy could be a really good shout because he is fairly lowly owned, I believe, and you've got a chance to jump up. You've had a few red arrows recently. You could bounce back with a green arrow if he comes up trumps.
Yeah, he's 22%. I'm going to go down here to the fixtures. If I look at these, I mean, the standouts for me are obviously Vardy and Iheanacho. If I go on from there, no one in Villa or West Brom really jump out. If you're really wanting to punt, maybe Pereira. I think Bruno or someone against Leeds, yeah, there's a chance there. If someone says he's due a penalty, who was it said that to give them a knee? Yeah, Prozac says United are due a penalty, which is fair. I'm not captain anyone from Wolves or Burnley. Sheffield and Brighton, no thank you. West Ham and Chelsea, tough fixture for both. I think for me it has to be a Liverpool player if you back them to beat Newcastle at home, to ideally to 0 if you're going for Trent. But I think Leicester are the only ones that stand out for me, and that's where I'm going to go. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's where my head's at. If I was going Liverpool, I don't have Salah. I'm sure he's a shout. Maybe even Mane's a shout. I don't know if Jota plays. Maybe he's the shout. I need to wait and see their press conferences and stuff. But Vardy for me will be captain. I think might switch it to Iheanacho if something comes out, but it's a Leicester captain.
Nice. Yeah, if the deadline was in 1 minute's time, I'd be setting my captain as Iheanacho. But yeah, because there is 5-6 hours left till the deadline, I may change my mind in between now and then. So yeah, don't hold it against me if I do.
Well, we've seen people do that before and get some grief, haven't we?
We have seen that in the community, and I've got some from yourself, John, over.
Yes.
Calvin doing week 10 or something.
Here's a little story. We haven't plugged our podcast at all so far. So basically, me and Wes are from the FPL Double Up podcast. If you're into it, we didn't do this one this week. There was fucking Super League drama and all sorts, and we knew we were streaming, but hopefully back next week. But earlier in the season, we both sort of said live on the podcast about how we were going to captain DCL. Yeah, let's captain DCL. And I captained DCL and he blanked, I think, and Wes captained a bloody Salah or Bruno or something. And Scumbag.
I can't remember who I went for. Maybe it was Vardy, actually. So
Could have been.
it being, I think I made the excuse that they both were strikers and both had a blue shirt on the app. So I
He'd
used that.
sell his granny for a tenner like this guy. Don't trust a thing he says. All about getting that big rank. He'll shaft you all. He doesn't really care about you. Anyway, Wes, is there anything else we need to say? We're 45 minutes in.
No, I think that's perfect, isn't it? I think we've covered all the main points. Again, watch out for the Liverpool team news is going to be quite important at 1:30 UK time. So if you're watching live, only 15 minutes away. Klopp could obviously say yes or no, Jota being out, and at that point it's going to be could blow our plans wide open. So yeah, wait for that. Spend some time planning your team. Try and, if you're at work, try and Skype off for a couple of hours and get some time to actually think about what you want to do. And then yeah, lock it in. Friday night deadlines are always difficult, but yeah, just have some confidence in what you pick. And likewise with captaincy, like I said, there's sort of 6 good options there. Who's to say who's the absolute best one? It's just all about picking one you're confident with and just going with it and letting the FPL gods have their way with you.
I agree. Well, Wes, look, it's been a pleasure. I really enjoy the streams. I think I enjoy the streams more than podcasts, and there's a bit more back and forth with people, isn't there?
Yeah, it's good with the comments scrolling in, and they sometimes distract me in terms of.
Yeah, we don't have time to respond to them all, but we do see them all.
Yeah, we do. We keep an eye on them all. So yeah, thank you so much for them all, and yeah, hit like.
Yeah, hit like, or we'll come and steal our mothers and tie them up, and I don't know what he'll do. I'm trying to come up with something creative and funny here, but bottom line is just like the video so people will have us back on Fantasy Football Hub. Yeah. Subscribe to their channel. They have some great content. There's some other brilliant podcasts, live streams, some videos from Will. There's some great stuff here, and if you have enjoyed this, do us a big favour, tell your mates in your WhatsApp groups, etc. Dan Bailey finally gave in and dropped a like. He's happy. He's happy with the standard of content. I like to see that. But yeah, let people know in your WhatsApp groups, your Slack, Discord, whatever's, and give us a shout out on Twitter or Instagram if that's what you're into. If you're not, no problem. We'll hopefully see you next week.
Last thing before we go, John, just literally last thing. Steve Horan, FPL Fairy on Twitter, and also runs the Hub Instagram.
He's an Irishman.
He is an Irishman, yeah. He's an Irishman living in Australia, so he can actually catch one of our streams today because of the time difference. He's asked if my garden videos are coming back. I might have retired them unless they come back by popular demand, but the neighbours are getting a bit annoyed having to throw the ball back every few minutes.
I think after you did it, I went out. It was not long. Whenever I first seen it, wasn't long post ACL surgery, and I went out for like the first time kicking a ball, and you know, like the ball was kind of half deflated and all, and I was trying to keep me up, easing away around the world, do what I used to do, and I near put my back out, and I came back in huffing and puffing. My girlfriend was like, "What were you doing?" I was just nothing. Just nothing. I'm picking up dog shite. Like, forget about it. I'm not admitting this.
We're old men now, John.
That's it. But right, guys, look, it's been an absolute pleasure.